Hello, everyone. This is MMA Interesting Prospects podcast. Today, our guest is Billy Brandt, who will be fighting this Saturday on Urijah Faber A1 Combat. Hello, Billy. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good, thanks. Billy, you will be fighting Pedro Juarez. And what do you think about this opponent? And how many weeks did you have to prepare for this?
I've known I was fighting him now for probably like 6 weeks, I would say. There was a couple opponents going back and forth. I wanted a title fight. They told me that they weren't going to be able to do a title fight on this card, so that that kind of changed my decision as far as opponents go. But yeah, he's from Buddy Wallace's camp. I don't know if you're aware of him. He fights with A1 as well. Um, So he's from a good camp, but he's pretty new to the game. He was fighting in they're calling PKBs. It's kind of like the equivalent of what I was doing, smokers. He was doing that like 2-3 years ago. I was doing those type of fights 12, 13 years ago. So I just don't think he's gonna be prepared, you know.
So what is the final prediction for this? Will it be another first round knockout?
It will be a finish for sure. There's honestly not a doubt in my mind that I'll finish this guy. I don't think he'll go away easy, but I know that with my skill set, I'll be able to get him out of there. Every fight you want the first round finish, but I've been working on my patience a lot. You could actually see it in the last fight. There was a point where after I dropped him, I think 2 or 3 times, I kind of settled down. I was like, shit, man, I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to get him out of there. So I kind of got back on my jab, stopped throwing all those bombs, and then settled down. And that's actually when I found the finish. So it could be a similar situation, or I could finish it on the ground. It just kind of depends on where he wants to go, you know?
And actually, your last opponent was a very good fighter because he was undefeated as the pro and amateur, and you finished him in the first round. So I think that it's really possible that it will be the same result with Juarez.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah.
And what do you think will be next after this fight? Do you want the A1 Combat bantamweight title, or you prefer maybe something else?
You know, I'll have to get back with my team. Initially the plan was, yeah, after this fight, get the belt. But I've had a couple offers come my way, so I'll have to weigh those options and see just see what makes them the most sense at the time. You know, obviously I want a championship. I think that honestly I was a little frustrated when I got this fight because it should be for a belt. You know, Peyton's going up to the Contender Series. The title's vacant. I understand that they have 2 title fights on, but make it 3. You know, it was a little frustrating that they didn't give me the title opportunity for this one. I'm pretty confident after I finish this guy that it'll be on the table. But like I said, I have other options, so I'm just gonna have to weigh those and see.
Yes, and this fight, maybe with not with this opponent, but you fighting for the title would be a perfect scenario because you won your first fight in A1 Combat. You also have a great amateur record, so I think that it will be like natural step right now for you to fight for this title.
Yeah, I think so as well.
And how many fights would you like to have in this year?
Um, at least one more after this, but if I could right now I'm aiming for after this one for October. And then depending on how I'm feeling, depending on how everything goes, I'd probably do December again. Um, Faber has reached out to the UFC matchmakers for me, and they told me after my last fight, get 3 more wins. I'm hoping I can do all 3 of those in this year. But realistically, I think if I get 2 more finishes, including this one, I won't need that third fight. I think I'll have shown them what it is, you know.
And also, I think that it's good that you are fighting for A1 Combat. The promotion that is like can be seen on the UFC Fight Pass, because many
Exactly.
fans all over the world can know your name, can know your style. So it would be not that you are an unknown guy, but the fans will know who you are.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm really great. You know, with COVID and everything, it put a stun on not just mine but everybody's fight career. Unless you were in the UFC, you know, there wasn't really very many opportunities. And so coming out of COVID, it was really convenient that Uriah started doing A1. Um, it's a good home, but like I said, I'm still frustrated. There's a lot of people behind the scenes, and like I said, it irks me a little bit that I'm not fighting for the belt already. You know.
And let's talk about your beginnings in the sport. Was it an MMA, the first combat sport that you ever train?
No, actually, I used to be kind of anti MMA. When I started training, it was about 15 years ago. Um, so that was like right towards like the tail end of the Chuck Liddell era, and I hated that era. I hated the just big overhand rights and just you know it wasn't very polished back then. So I started with Muay Thai and boxing when I was 12. I'm 27 now, um, and it was just it kind of sucked me in. It's grabbed a hold of me, and it's all I've ever done. But somewhere along the way, I saw Anderson Silva fight, and in my head, I kind of told myself, you know, if I can fight like that guy, then I'll fight MMA. And then when I was probably 15, an MMA team came to my home gym where I was working there. I was teaching classes, and I was running the front desk. And the owner of the team kind of talked me into to doing an MMA fight. So my first, initially they wanted me to do pancration, but I had already had probably 15 Muay Thai fights. So I told him, I was like, I'm not gonna not punch people in the face, you know, like it's kind of my forte. So he was able to talk to a casino out in Oroville, and I made my amateur MMA debut when I was 16. It was actually the day weigh-ins were the day of junior prom. So I went and weighed in, came back, went to junior prom with my still girlfriend, um, still together with her, and then the next day we drove out to Oroville, and I won my first MMA fight.
And actually, I was quite surprised when I saw that your first amateur fight was 10 years ago, because after so many years, if anybody can thought that you are like 35 or something like
Yeah,
this,
right.
but you are still a very young fighter.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a. I think people forget that sometimes. I think people look at me like this young, I don't know, this young cocky fighter, but people don't realize the amount of work I've put in. I've been doing nothing but this since I was 12. So of course I'm going to be confident, even after the Peyton fight. You know, not immediately after. Immediately after, it was rough. You know, you go through all those like, man, am I really built for this? All those dark thoughts, and I had a lot of them after the Peyton fight. But I got great people around me, and they kind of encouraged me. You know, and it also helps being in a gym like Team Alpha Male, where you know if you can I'm hanging with UFC guys. I'm winning rounds against UFC guys every day. So it kind of helps you get that confidence back. And then obviously with my last fight, that's the result that I expect every time. You know, I expect to get a win like that, dominate like that, and style on guys the way I did in that last one.
And because you are right now training in Alpha Male, who overall is your favorite fighter for like whole history of the team?
I probably have to say Mendez. Chad was always so exciting to watch. You know, I got here. I think he had just retired before he started doing the bare knuckle stuff. You know, me and him have got a lot of boxing rounds in, and yeah, I just love his style. He's so explosive. His You don't see a lot of guys whose grappling is exciting, but like watching Chad run a double leg across the cage was always really exciting. And then obviously his power too. You know, he hits so hard. I've been on the other end of those, and I can confirm he hits really hard. But yeah, now I feel like I'm picking sides, man. I'm looking across the room and I see Darren Elkins. I love Darren Elkins too. He's a fan favorite. Um, and then even like Andre Feely's a good friend of mine, and Faber, man. I love them all. But yeah, Chad. Growing up, Chad was probably my favorite one to watch.
Yes, there are so many great fighters for so many
Yeah.
for so many years, because Uriah
Mm-hmm.
built whole the team, but we have
Mm-hmm.
Chad Mendes, Cody Garbrandt, so the
Mm-hmm.
champion after champion.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and even the guys we have now, Mike Malott doesn't train with us as much anymore. He's basing his camp back out in Canada. But you see what he does. He's a phenom. And then Slava, obviously, Slava's a guy that I try to style some of my approach to fighting, because similar backgrounds. You know, he's a world champion kickboxer. I was never a world champion because I got into MMA so young. Um, but I was always fighting Muay Thai, you know. So Slava's a good guy for me to watch and kind of try to translate his stuff into mine, you know.
And as the amateur, you fought as the flyweight according to topology, and you also were promotional two champion in a featherweight division. So do you think that you will stay as the bantamweight, or you prefer to go up or down?
So that first one, it was actually a catch weight at 128, so a little above flyweight. I'm never touching flyweight. I have a lot of friends telling me to cut back down to flyweight, and I tell them they're crazy. There's no way I'm going back down to that. But my ultimate goal, I actually fought 2 fights ago at 145. Um, my first fight after Peyton, and that was just kind of like to get my feet wet again. You know, the opponent was a good matchup. It was a favorable matchup. Um, so yeah, the ultimate goal, I want to get to the UFC. I want to take over the bantamweight division, and then once I do that, once I win the belt, once I defend it once or twice, I want to go up to featherweight. I actually think that I'm better at featherweight. You know, it's just with some of these wrestlers down at bantamweight, they're so big and they're so strong. Like even you see Andre Feely, he towers above me, and he's a true 45er. So I think the ultimate goal is to get to the 45-pound championship in the UFC, or one championship, whatever knocks on the door first. But yeah, as of right now, I'm committed to 135. I talked to Faber about that. He said that he wants to see me stay at 135, and I think it makes sense, especially right now. But like I said, I think once I win that belt at 35, bulk up, lift some weights, and then go up to 145. And you see with Volk, size isn't everything. Obviously, he's a lot broader than I am. He's a lot more buff than I am. But with some time, I think I can reach that level.
And if you would go to the UFC, let's say in like next few months, do you have any fighter in mind that you would like to face?
You want the realistic answer, or you want the what I really want?
It can be both.
Okay. The realistic answer, honestly, it's whoever they give me. It's I don't really want to. I don't. If they sign me, I'm a company man. You know what I mean? Give me whatever fights you think make sense. I would hope that they see my potential and would want to build me the way they've built other guys. But if they feed me to the dogs, I'm ready for it. I think I'm prepared right now. I think I go fight in the UFC tomorrow. Um, as far as who I really want, and obviously it wouldn't happen because he's fighting for the title. Sean O'Malley, I think that guy is one. Everyone says that, right? Because it's a big money fight. But money aside, I would like to fight that guy on A1. You know what I mean? Making what I make here. I just think he's very overhyped. I think he's good, but I've seen a ton of flaws. He's really rangy, and to be honest with you, I've struggled with rangy guys. That's always been my the the matchup that I struggled with the most. But I think I'm too calculated for Sean O'Malley. And the paycheck would be nice.
Yes, I think that both things are interesting because the paycheck is one thing, but also, in my opinion, he's a really good fighter. Maybe not maybe not like top 2, but maybe top 5, top 6. And
I just don't think that his skill matches his persona, and that's kind of the thing that bothers me. I don't have a problem with guys talking like that if they're really that guy. Like you watch I don't know, Israel Adesanya, he doesn't carry himself like that. But if he did, I'd be like, all right, man, like, or Volk even. If Volk carried himself like that, you can't argue with it. But Sean, and I get it, he's trying to make money, you know what I mean? That I guess that is his goal. But realistically, like I I don't do this for money at all. The money's nice. It's nice to get a little paycheck for putting in all this work, but I lose money every fight. I between gym dues and just gas on the way to the gym, I'm not making money. That's not why I do this. So I'd really like to go in there with a guy like that and take half of his paycheck and put it towards my camp.
so, do you think that Sterling will beat Sean O'Malley for the belt?
What was that? Oh,
Uh,
Alistair? Or Aljamain, sorry. Uh I think so. I don't see Aljo losing to O'Malley. I think his grappling's too good. Sean has shown that he's not bad at grappling, but that's not where he excels. Um he Aljo's good too, man. I think that's another fight I like. But he's going up to 45 after this. And I think stylistically that's a harder matchup for me just because he can, like, once he gets that back, it's pretty hard to get out. But yeah, I see Aljo winning that for sure. And then I see Aljo going up to 145 and losing to Volk. So
yes, Volkanovski is right now hard to beat.
very hard to beat. Very hard to beat.
And for you, what is the best thing about being an MMA fighter?
Uh, there's no one thing or the I just love fighting. Like it sounds silly, but it's all I've ever done. It's all I ever wanted since I walked into that boxing it was actually an MMA gym. Since I walked into that gym and did my first boxing class, um, I've never thought about anything else. My whole mind has been consumed with fighting. And I think that's a huge advantage I have is that some guys are really talented and they work hard, but they're not passionate about it. And I think my passion combined with my work ethic, combined with my talent and skills, I think it's a really hard combination to beat.
And how do you deal with this stress before your fights?
It's funny, before the Peyton fight, I had a long layoff, and I was really stressed. I hadn't fought in 35 in a really long time. So the weight cut was a huge stressor. Everything about it, I had built it up in my head to be this like ultimate goal. You know what I mean? Like this is everything. And realistically, like I'm still fighting. That wasn't the ultimate goal. So I think as I've been more active, I think that's a big one. I used to say ring rust isn't real, cage rust isn't real, like whatever, you just go out there and fight. But I don't think it's a physical thing. I think it's a mental thing. I think when you haven't been in there a while, you start to forget it, and you start to, even now, my last fight was March, and the thrill is gone. You know what I mean? I don't still feel the same way I felt about that fight right after, obviously. But being active has really helped me. Since October, I've fought February, October, March, and now July. And I just mentally, I'm so much more prepared. It doesn't seem like there's so much weight on my shoulders anymore. It just seems like this is what I do. You know, I'm a professional fighter. Professional fighters need to fight. So the stress doesn't really get to me anymore. And that might change if I stop being as active, but I doubt it. I think I've grown a lot these past couple of years, and really the Peyton fight taught me a lot of that. You know, me and Peyton are I he's a friend of mine now. We train together. We've also talked about fighting. You know, after I beat this guy, I'm gonna tell everybody. You know, if somebody falls out of that contender series matchup, I'm ready to go. I'll get on. But on either side, you know. But I learned a lot from that last fight, just about the way you need to carry yourself, the way the fighting works, man. You know, Feely, one of the first things he told me right after that fight was, you know, this shit's chaos. Like you could do 99% right, but that 1% can lose you the fight. And I don't know how focused in you were when you watched that fight, but I was winning. You know, I was starting to run away with it, and then I got a little bit greedy. I went for another overhand right because it was landing all day long, and it actually I threw an overhand right, it landed, but he landed a liver hook at the same time as I landed my overhand right. And unfortunately for me, that liver hook beat my overhand right. And Peyton also has one of the freakiest chins I've ever met in my life. Like usually when I touch guys, even in sparring, I hurt him, you know, and I hit him harder than I've ever hit anybody in my life, and he walked right through it. So there's something to be said for that as well.
Yes, and he got his chance to for fighting for the contender series. So maybe there will be some chance for you also because you have a really interesting style. The
Yeah.
fans like to watch you. You are not like wrestler like who is holding his opponents,
Yeah.
or like you are clinching all the time. So I think that it would be perfect to see you there.
Yeah. Yeah. I think so as well. There's been talks about the contender series for me. The matchmakers said the next season, but I don't want to wait that long. I've been fighting for, like I told you, I started training 15 years ago. I don't want to wait any longer. I'm starting to get impatient. I know I'm still young, but I want the prime of my career to be in the UFC. I want to go win in the UFC. These wins right now, they feel great. Don't get me wrong, but really all they are is steps to the bigger show. And whether that be the UFC, you know, the UFC is my first my first option, but one championship is a really close option because I know that if I sign with one, I can fight Muay Thai as well. And I would love to be the first guy in one to bounce from Muay Thai to MMA, Muay Thai to MMA. And I think I'd have a lot of success. I think people, obviously, you see my striking in my MMA fights, um, but Muay Thai is really like my first love. And I think that if I had time to only focus on Muay Thai, I think I would really make waves in one championship. But like I said, the UFC is my number one. I'm getting impatient, you know.
And if UFC like call you 2 weeks after the fight to for you to take a short notice fight, would you be interested and able to take this either in bantamweight or featherweight division?
Yeah, absolutely. Either weight class, you know, if they call me, as long as I'm injury free, you know, I've heard things about when you do get those short notice calls, if you take them and you don't tell them that you're a little injured, because obviously every fighter, you know, that's the biggest opportunity. So regardless if you're injured or not, you want to say yes. But if you say yes with an injury and then they find out, they're going to cut you, and it's going to be really hard to get re-signed. So barring any injuries, and right now I'm healthy, I'm ready to go. Barring any injuries, if they call me, yeah, I'll fight 30. I'll fight 55 if they want me to, you know.
And outside of fighting, what's your favorite thing to do in your free time?
Um, most of my life is fighting, but I play, especially off, like when I'm not in camp. I play a lot of video games as well. I love playing video games. I have since I was little. Um, I love food. That's another reason why I'll never go back down to flyweight. I just love food too much. I like cooking and all that. I'm already putting together a little food tour for after this fight, you know. Um, but yeah, food, fighting, and video games pretty much, and obviously hanging out with my family. I have a really tight knit family. My girlfriend of 12 years, we're all super tight knit. And that's pretty much all I do, man.
And actually, many fighters like food, like to eat,
Yeah,
especially after a tough fight.
exactly. Yeah, I'm excited. That's one of the things that gets me through these camps is just looking at all the food that I'm gonna eat after the fight, you know.
And do you have things on your bucket list, the things that you would like to do, to accomplish?
As far as fighting goes,
Fighting and also outside of fighting.
okay. Yeah, fighting, 35-pound champion, 145-pound champion, in the UFC. And then besides that, you know, one thing that I've always really respected about Faber, even before I was training under him, is his his entrepreneurship. You know, like he was really smart. Back when he was the world champ, there wasn't money like there was now. You know, so he found a way to take what money he did make and invest it. You know, I'm sitting in this huge, beautiful gym, and it's not his only business, you know. So I'd really like to, you know, I'm into to sneakers and clothes as well. So maybe owning like a little sneaker shop, um, you know, a little convenience store. I don't know, man. I wanna keep the money coming in. You know what I mean? I don't wanna I wanna make as much money as possible through fighting. And I know I just told you I don't do it for the money, but if it's gonna be my career, that's part of it. You know what I mean? Like I told you, I would fight whether I made money or not. But luckily for me, I get to make money doing it. You know, so I'm actually starting a little. This is the first I've talked about it. A fight wear company. I'm gonna start off with just t-shirts and some Muay Thai shorts and stuff. But I'm gonna reinvest some of my purse from this fight, put it into that. Hopefully, get the ball rolling on that, and just keep building from there. You know.
Yes, so money would be a good thing. Maybe like in next few fights you will be in the UFC and you will be fighting
Exactly.
also for the bonuses, because there is a lot of money there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and like you said with my style earlier, I mean, you tell me the Peyton fight, that's bonus worthy, right?
Yes, definitely.
My last fight, bonus worthy. My fight before that, obviously the caliber of my opponent, my fight at 145 wasn't the best, but regardless, the performance was bonus worthy. So um, yeah, man, I'm that's again, that's one thing that people will try to like get me out of sometimes. You need to stop fighting like that, man. You need to focus. You need to just get the job done. And I'm like, first of all, it's not really up to me. Like I can't. It's just how I fight. It's how I've always fought. Even when I was doing Muay Thai as a young kid, I've always been exciting. Like I said, I enjoy it. There's nothing I enjoy more. So I think that really comes out when I do fight. And luckily for me, I think that that's what people like to see. You know, you said it earlier. But yeah, I think all my fights are bonus worthy. I've never been in a boring fight ever. Win, lose, or draw. Muay Thai fights, MMA fights. I've never had a boxing match, but I've been thinking about it just to get some extra experience, you know. And same thing, I know it wouldn't be boring.
Okay, Billy. So many thanks for this conversation. I
Of
hope
course, thank you,
that you will win this fight, win the
thank you.
A1
I
Combat
will
title, and next year you will be fighting for the performance of the night, bonuses, and maybe fight of the night.
exactly. Yeah, early next year, I should be in the UFC.
Yes, and I think that the fans will be definitely looking forward it.
Thank you.